Natalie here at Fairy Goblet. You might know me as Natalie K, the very enthusiastic person who stalks Cosmic Crow's comments. Stalks is too strong a word, but comments is too weak of a word because I write entire novels down there. I have a problem. And in an effort to fix this problem, I have decided to start my own YouTube channel. And today I thought that I would just chill a little bit in front of the camera, get comfortable with it. I have plans for additional content, but we all know who the real boss of my channel is. My printer. So we may or may not get what we are looking for. Let's see. I am an empath. I discovered that I was an empath when I was in my teens, as people typically do. I kind of knew I could do it when I was a lot littler, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't really pay much attention to it, so it wasn't really a conscious thing. Let's see, what else? Man, my life is boring. I've been working with Freya for a number of years that I can't remember because my short-term memory has been stated by a doctor to be terrible. So not just the average person, a doctor. So you know I'm not making this up. Anyway, I guess since I'm here, I'll talk a little bit about how I first met Freya. Since, everybody seems to be super enthusiastic about Freya lately, thanks to Rebecca's awesome 29 Days of Freya series. That was a good series. Anyway, so I was in a period in my life where I had that classic empath chameleon problem. Like, I didn't know who I was. I kind of felt like I had been depersonalized in a sense. Like I was just this spirit carrying this body around, and, I was constantly connected to the personalities and the people that were all around me. And I needed more of a maternal figure in my life to give me an example of a strong woman who doesn't have to deal with that kind of problem. It's very common for empaths to really not know who they are because they take the "we are one" philosophy to the extreme. Like, it's not their fault or anything, that's just kind of how they're built. And then they need to learn how to fix it. But sometimes it can take a while to learn how to fix it. So you're stuck your first day of college carrying around your stuffed animal because, well, you have to hang on to your sense of identity somehow. Luckily, in college, people don't care. Any teenagers who might be watching this, people in college do not care. You can literally be walking down the hallway and people will start whistling Mockingjay for no reason and doing beatbox. Nobody cares. So, for a while, I stumbled upon Bridget, who I thought would be a good fit because of my transition from Christianity over to paganism. I thought that might be, a way to make things a little smoother. So I tried and failed to make Bridget's crosses. I tried to get Bridget's attention. It just wasn't happening. So I looked again, and I found Freya. And she was everything that I was looking for in the qualities that I was hoping to develop. Self-confidence, a sense of personal identity, respect for oneself, while maintaining that compassion for others. I can't count. So I decided to do a little ritual and leave out an offering for her and just be like, hey, you know, I'm here. If you want to hang around, you know, you can do that. Maybe. But anybody who knows anything about working with Freya knows that Freya doesn't do things halfway. Ever. So the next thing I know, I'm having this really bizarre dream where I'm, you know, lying down on a chair in the tattoo parlor. And this is actually pretty funny because my doctor advised that I'm not getting a tattoo because to address the elephant in the room, because people are going to notice eventually, might as well be now. My doctor said, you know, since your muscles spaz all the time and you can't really control your limbs, it might not be a good idea for you to get a tattoo because if you're lying there and you have a spasm, that's one wreck tattoo. And I'm like, you know, you are so right, and people should totally vaccinate their children. So I was having this dream, right, where I was on the tattoo table, and I was semi-lucid throughout the whole thing. I can dream in various degrees of lucidity, but I cannot control which degree of lucidity it is. Like, I have a lot of dreams where I'm questioning the logical inconsistencies of my dream, but I can't figure out that I'm dreaming. I didn't even know that there could be an in-between like that until it actually happened. The tattoo that I was getting was a dagger on a bed of flowers. And I knew that I was getting it for Freya. And I'm just like, oh geez, already? And, you know, it's this dream, personally, that makes me think that Freya kind of had a plan for what we were going to do from day one. Me dedicating, while it wasn't an afterthought, was kind of a foregone conclusion for her. For a while, I was scared to death of her, you know, because I had never been up against such a strong presence before, and I have a myriad of issues that involve, you know, people departing suddenly and such. So it took me forever to realize that she wasn't going to leave and that she wasn't going to get mad at me for every little thing. In the beginning, she would poke at my boundaries constantly, like, poke, 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 poke. You need to do this, you need to do that. Why don't you learn ruins? Why don't you create a broom? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And finally I'm like, Freya, I love you, but you need to slow down. And the thing was, that was a test. That was what Freya was waiting for, because Freya wanted me to enforce my boundaries, which is something that's hard for me to do, and something that I'm still working on. So, nowadays, I've got a very sarcastic relationship for her. She'll be like, hey kiddo, and I'll be like, what do you want now? I don't know why, but I think she appreciates the flippancy. I'm not going to pretend to fathom why an all-powerful goddess thinks the way that she thinks, but I'm glad that she likes it instead of, like, smiting my head off. Which, at this point, I think that she's not very likely to do. Lucky me. Let's see, do I have anything else about myself that I want to, Oh, shoot. Even when the screen's right in front of you, it's hard to, look directly into the camera. Man, I'm gonna have to work on that. So, let's see, what else can we talk about? Oh yeah, there might be some background noise in my videos, because I live with my family, and I have a very neurotic dog who is very food driven, and occasionally he likes to come in and see if I have somehow gotten a rotisserie chicken in there for him to eat. And if I do not leave the door, you know, at least partially open where he can get in, he will scratch and scratch and scratch and scratch, and then he will cry, and then I have to let him in. So if you hear the jingling of a dog tag down below in this area here somewhere, below here, like down here, that's probably him. Also, if you hear me say things like, don't stick your head in there, and no, my yarn balls aren't food, that's also talking to him. I don't think any of my followers would eat balls of yarn. But anyway, now that we're mentioning yarn, because weaving is so important to the practice of since weaving is so important to the prospect of Freya's specific brand of Norse magic, I am learning how to weave, and you can see I've wound some threads around there because the edges were really starting to cinch in, so I decided to unravel a few rows and see if I could fix it. I'm making a scrub towel because I like to fool myself into thinking that I actually know how to keep my room clean. There's a reason that I'm showing you my room from this angle. It's bad. What do I have planned for the future of this channel? Well, I like to talk a lot about manifestation and the problems that can come when you rely too much on manifestation to get your outcome in life. It can really lead to some issues where people will start to blame other people for their misfortunes or acts of God that they have no conscious control over, and that's something that really bothers me, so I'm making a video about that. Again, we'll have to see when my printer decides that we can get going with it. Let's see, what else do I have planned? I really just needed a place to talk about whatever's on my mind, because sometimes I have this great idea, and I think, well, if I put that down in the YouTube comments, it's gonna be a novel. So I'm not gonna put that down there. I am not a beginner to paganism necessarily, but I'm not really an expert either. I'm kind of in that in-between bit. And although I do have some other abilities besides being an empath, I don't really use them very often because they scare me. Clairvoyance is scary. People will tell you, oh, cool, you can see auras and junk. No. It's terrifying. Because until you realize that you're projecting your own fears and your clairvoyance can pick that up, you're basically in your own little living, walking nightmare. But I'm really pleased and I'm really happy that I have been encouraged to do this channel. First by Aiden from Lunar Ascension stating, in a very roundabout way, do you draw or do YouTube or something during a tarot reading? At the time I didn't. My guides nagged me about it. Now I did. And also I would like to thank Rebecca from Cosmic Crow for being so supportive all of this time. I know that you have a limited amount of time when you're a young adult to really deal with everything and do what you want to do. So taking the time to interact with your subscribers like that is just phenomenal. And I really hope that I eventually get a place in this community and have a chance to reach more people and see if anything can be learned from my life experience, because my life experience, as you will learn, is not exactly the most typical of life experiences. One time, a giant Sylvester doll fell on me. That's how I ended up in this thing. No, I'm just kidding. But really, a giant Sylvester doll did fall on me. It was my brother's. That was a day. Alright, I guess I will be seeing everybody at a later date. I hope that I can make a video for next week. I will be posting every week to 2 weeks as my health and energy level permits. And I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Be yourselves. That's all you need to be. Bye. If you would like to support this channel, now is the time to like and subscribe. Thank you.